And welcome to the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. It is Thursday, November 10th at 2 p.m. and we are here for our regularly scheduled business meeting. Let's take a roll call of commissioners. Appearing with us virtually are Commissioner Irvin and Commissioner Carolee Williams. Present in the hearing room, we have Commissioner Justin Williams, Vice Chair Powers, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Caston, and Chair Belser. Before we begin, please join me for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Mr. Powers.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, Vice Chair Powers and Commissioners. The first order of business is to set the next Commission business meeting. The Commission has a special Commission business meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, November 21st at 11 a.m. Today, we have 9 items on the utility agenda and 11 items on the motor carrier agenda. Item number 1 on the utilities agenda is in docket number 2018-354G. Staff presents for Commission consideration the request for approval of an agreement for transportation service with firm gas standby between Dominion Energy South Carolina, Inc. and Owens Corning Sales, LLC.
Commissioners, we've heard the item 1 identified by Mr. Powers. Is there a motion? Commissioner Irvin, I think I heard you, but we could barely hear you. Can you speak up?
Can you hear me now?
No, sir. Commissioner, do we need to log off and log back on? I'm asking. Commissioner, can you log off and log back on? We'll stand at ease for just a moment.
Madam Chair, can you hear me now?
Commissioner Irvin, we can hear you. And let's just do a check and make sure. Commissioner Carolee Williams, are you still on with us? Cannot hear you.
There's a good reason why you couldn't hear me.
Okay. All right. We've still got everybody. We're on item 1, and I think Commissioner Irvin, you said you have a motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the Commission approve the agreement for transportation service with firm gas standby between Dominion Energy South Carolina Incorporated and Owens Corning Sales, LLC. So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Irvin. Commissioners, we've heard the motion from Commissioner Irvin. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers.
Aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries.
Item number 2 is in docket number 2022-321E. Staff recommends this item be carried over.
Item 2 will be carried over.
Item number 3 is in docket number 2022-188EC. Staff presents for Commission consideration the motion to strike late filed exhibits 10 and 11 and the final disposition of the docket.
Commissioners, we've heard agenda item 3 identified or is described by Mr. Powers. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Thomas.
thank you. Complainant Spectrum Southeast LLC, a broadband provider doing business in South Carolina, petitioned the Commission to find as a matter of law that the BAA prohibits electric cooperatives from denying pole access based on construction standards that exceed the National Electric Safety Code, or the NESC. After a thorough review of the law, I move that the Commission concludes that the electric cooperatives, such as Respondent York Electric Cooperative, Inc., are not expressly prohibited from establishing clearance standards that exceed the NESC in the ESC's safety standards under the BAA. I encourage the parties to work together to negotiate an outcome in this matter that is fair and reasonable. Further, I move that the commission find that York's motion to strike late filed exhibits 10 and 11 is denied.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, we've heard the motion from Commissioner Thomas. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a substitute motion.
Okay, Commissioner Justin Williams, you're recognized for a substitute motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the commission.
Could you speak into the microphone? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize for that. Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, I move that the commission find that the BAA, the Broadband Accessibility Act, did not make NESC standards maximum standards. I further move that the petition find that York's denial of Spectrum's request to access York's poles to attach broadband service lines does not meet the standards set forth in the BAA at section 58-9-3030B2, which allows an electric cooperative to deny a broadband communication provider access to their poles for safety, reliability, and generally applicable engineering practices. Therefore, I move that the commission find that York must allow Spectrum to access York's poles and allow attachment at the NESC standard in an effort to meet the stated legislative objective of the BAA, which is to efficiently deploy broadband service in unserved areas across the state. So moved.
Commissioners, we have a substitute motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on the substitute motion?
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Madam Chair, notwithstanding the fact that there was no support that a minimum safety standard has been construed as a maximum standard, South Carolina Code Annotated Section 58-9-3030B2 supports that electric cooperatives have the ability to exceed the NESC standards if an electric cooperative shows that the basis for denial is for reasons of safety, reliability, and generally applicable engineering principles. And those limitations can be remedied by rearranging, expanding, or re-engineering the facilities, provided the communications service provider pays the reasonable and actual cost of the pole owner caused by its attachment. Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, I don't believe York made that showing in the case that we heard that the reasons were for safety, reliability, or generally applicable engineering standards. York's witnesses referenced safety and reliability, but did not provide any substantive testimony or documentary evidence to support the denial was based on reasons of safety, reliability, or generally applicable engineering principles. Such testimony and support could include, and is definitely not limited to, a reduction in safety reports or incident reports led to by the increased standard, increase in reliability led to by the increased standard, or generally applicable engineering principles, reductions in workers' compensation claims, reductions in actual safety accidents, reductions in outage reports, or testimony addressing some of those specific situations. We didn't hear that in the case before us. Instead, what we heard from York is testimony about past difficulties it experienced in dealing with communication service providers not complying with contractual obligations. However, York admitted that it did not exercise its rights and privileges under those contracts to resolve those issues. Additionally, York testified that another reason for its decision to exceed the NESC standard is due to anticipated growth, which necessitates more space on its poles. While the aforementioned reasons are practical and expedient for York, they are not exceptions included under the BAA.
Any further discussion? Vice Chair Powers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having lived on 100 acres in the country where you can see the stars at night and being out where you are, there should not be what I call a tyranny of from distance being left out. Going back, and I tend to go back to history, when President Roosevelt decided to start the Rural Electrification Act, private industry just thought that it just cost too much. There was no profitability. But it turns out that was public policy. And probably the most massive intervention with American infrastructure that's ever occurred. But it worked, and it gave people in the country equal chance to have lights, if nothing else, and to live at that time, what was considered a contemporary existence. Broadband now, I think, requires or is a necessity for contemporary existence. It's been a digital divide for people, homework gap for those that did not have the chance, and I think the recent COVID outbreak really showed us the difference in how people are required to live and what they have available. It's just a strong public policy, and just as requiring rural areas to have electricity, just as making education a public policy, even though you may have to ride a bus 10 miles to go pick somebody up and give them that free education. Education requires that the public policy be enforced. I agree with Commissioner Williams. We weren't given enough information on different things to do otherwise. And I'll have to say I support his motion. But it's something that I feel is that important, not just education, telehealth. There's so many people who are poor, live in the country, who can see the doctor on their computer rather than having to travel 40 miles just for a checkup. So I will support that motion. I will also say that there's been a lot of time spent on this case by all parties. I think both sides are, it's almost one of those things where both sides are right in some way. But with what we've been given, I would just have to say I'm going to vote in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Powers. Commissioners, any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Caston?
a couple of things before I comment on any of that. Are we skipping over Commissioner Thomas's motion?
Commissioner Caston, I'll address that. When we have a motion by a commissioner, it's been my practice that we would proceed with that motion unless there's a substitute motion, in which case we take the substitute motion first. And if, depending on the result of the substitute motion, we would go back to the original motion.
Answers my question.
Thank you.
Then that being the case,
What is this?
I believe this case was presented as a narrow legal question, and we cannot make a determination that is simply not found in the law. Talked about the safety standard, and I think we're in agreement on that, although I maybe would word it differently. But the BAA does not state that the NESC safety standards are maximum standards. In my personal experience, safety standards are minimums. That's how they've been interpreted in the past, and it's illogical to think that a safety requirement would limit your clearance, that it could be a maximum clearance. And while I'm on that, subsection 58-9-30-30D2 requires communication service providers to cooperate in good faith with pole owners and other attachers to ensure compliance with NESC standards, but in no way imposes NES standards as a ceiling on what electric cooperatives may require of attachers to their poles. Charter's own expert, Mr. Bingle, acknowledged that the NESC uses not less than in describing its clearance requirements. Charter agreed to adopt the increased clearance span as long as they didn't have to pay for it. York, in my opinion, and I believe the record is replete with it, York sufficiently established its reasoning for its increased clearance standards. York has provided reasons of safety, reliability, and generally applicable engineering principles, as required by the law, for their increased clearance standards. Spectrum's petition made no claim that York's clearance requirement is discriminatory. The proposed motion assumes the Act supersedes a utility's existing standards and policy. I do not agree. York's policy has been in place since 2002, and all communication companies, including Charter, have operated under this agreement even to this present day. There was no evidence introduced that any communication company had any issues with this long-held policy prior to Charter raising this issue until after the BAA was codified. We do know these are York's poles, and I believe they're the most well-informed about what is best for them. I believe Spectrum's request should be denied, and for that reason, I cannot and do not support this motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Caston. Commissioners, any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Thomas.
thank you. I'd just like to say that I think that York Electric Co-op worked real hard to get out in front of this issue and to start meeting the intent of the BAA. I believe they've been working really, really hard to get to the unserved customers, and I commend them for doing so. There's a lot of information that we do not have, in my opinion, that we need to go any further than my motion. I mean, we don't have a copy of the existing contract that Spectrum operates under. There's apparently another contract that York has with Comporium that may or may not be relevant to the decision, but we don't have it and we don't know. If we jump on board and go with Commissioner Justin Williams' motion, then how does that impact the work that York has been doing to get to these unserved customers? If they've done a lot of work and connected a lot of unserved customers, does that mean that they're gonna have to undo and make changes that could end up costing the co-op customers? If that's the case, I don't think that's fair and reasonable at all. Quite simply, I don't think we know enough. We didn't get enough information, and that's not what we were asked. We were asked one simple question. My motion answered that question. And so respectfully, I will not be supporting Commissioner Justin Williams' motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioners, any further discussion? I would just like to note that the BAA changed the landscape. It created new obligations, also created new rights for some communication services providers, and it's a complicated statute or act, several statutes, and lays out some requirements, some privileges that are and rights that are granted, and we're been trying to wade through that and come to a correct decision. And I appreciate all the work that commissioners have had. I've had discussions individually with a number of commissioners, and I appreciate everybody working through the record and the statute and to come to a decision here. Anything further? We'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Justin Williams.
Madam Chair, before I vote, I want to amend my motion to add the.
Yes, sir. I was going to come back to that as a separate, since it wasn't part of your main motion. I was going to come back for a separate motion if that meets with your approval.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay.
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams,
No?
Commissioner Caston,
No.
Commissioner Urban,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
No.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries. Now, we still need to address the motion to strike, as that was not part of the main motion. Is there a motion regarding the motion to strike?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, I move that the commission finds that York's motion to strike late filed exhibits 10 and 11 be denied.
Commissioners, we've heard the motion from Commissioner Justin Williams on the motion to strike. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Justin Williams,
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Caston,
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The motion to strike, the motion to deny the motion to strike is, carries. Is that it? Okay. Mr. Powers.
Item number 4 is in docket number 2022-351E regarding a procedural schedule for the docket.
Commissioners, we've heard item 4 identified by Mr. Powers. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Vice Chair Powers.
Thank you. I move that Santee Cooper propose a procedural schedule, including a hearing date by November 17, 2022, for consideration of their competitive procurement program pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 58-31-227.
Thank you, Vice Chair Powers. Commissioners, we've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Vice Chair Powers.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Caston,
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The motion carries.
Item numbers 5 through 7 may be taken together. Number 5 is in docket number 2022-142WS. Number 6 is in docket number 2022-254E. And number 7 is in docket number 2022-168A. Staff presents for commission consideration the withdrawal of Connor J. Parker as counsel of record for the Department of Consumer Affairs in these dockets due to a job change.
Commissioners, we've heard items 5 through 7 identified by Mr. Powers. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Vice Chair Powers.
I move that the commission grant the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs motion to withdraw representation of Connor J. Parker as counsel of record in items number 5 through 7 as listed by Mr. John Powers.
Thank you, Vice Chair Powers. Commissioners, we've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Vice Chair Powers.
Aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Caston,
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The motion carries.
Item numbers 8 and 9 may be taken together. Number 9 is in docket numbers 2019-224E and 2021-10E. And number 9 is in docket numbers 2019-225E and 2021-8E regarding the Office of Regulatory Staff's request for confidential treatment of certain portions of its review regarding Duke Energy Progress LLC's Integrated Resource Plan Annual Update and Duke Energy Carolinas LLC's Integrated Resource Plan Annual Update.
Commissioners, we've heard items 8 and 9 as identified by Mr. Powers. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Caston.
Thank you, ma'am. I move that the commission grant the request made by Office of Regulatory Staff for confidential treatment of certain portions of its review regarding Duke Energy Carolinas LLC's Integrated Resource Plan Update, Annual Update, and of certain portions of its review regarding Duke Energy Progress LLC's Integrated Resource Plan Annual Update. I so move.
Commissioners, we've heard the motion from Commissioner Caston. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams,
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams,
I vote aye.
and the chair votes aye. The motion carries.
Madam Chair, that completes the utilities agenda before the commission. Moving on to motor carrier agenda, item numbers 1 through 7 are requests for Class C and Class E certificates. Staff recommends that items 1 through 7 be taken together, and I will review them for the commission. Item number 1 appears in docket number 2022-339T, which is the application of non-VEETs for Class C non-emergency certificate. Item number 2 is in docket number 2022-340T. This is the application of Exquisite Connections LLC for Class C non-emergency certificate. Item number 3 is in docket number 2022-341T, which is the application of Crafted Travel LLC for Class C charter certificate. Item number 4 is in docket number 2022-342T, which is the application of Living Waters Med Transportation LLC for Class C non-emergency certificate. Item number 5 is in docket number 2022-344T, which is the application of Charleston Hospitality Limo LLC for Class C charter certificate. Item number 6 is in docket number 2022-345T, which is the application of Divine Care at Home LLC for Class C non-emergency certificate. Item number 7 is in docket number 2022-343T, which is the application of Riverdog Moving LLC for Class E household goods certificate.
Commissioners, we've heard the items identified by Mr. Powers with regard to applications for new motor carrier certificates. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Vice Chair Powers.
I move the commission approve the applications of Class C and Class C certificates in items number 1 through 7 as listed by Mr. Powers.
Commissioners, we've heard the motion on items 1 through 7. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Vice Chair Powers.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Did I get everybody? Okay, the chair votes aye. The motion carries.
Item number 8 is in docket number 2021-150T. This is the request of GVL Limo to amend its certificate.
With regard to the item 8 identified by Mr. Powers, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, have a motion, please.
Vice Chair Powers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission grant the request of Greenville Executive Limo Service LLC, doing business as GVL Limo, to amend Class C Charter Certificate number 9576-B to read Greenville Executive Limo Service LLC, doing business as GVL Limo, doing business as GVL Taxi. So move.
Commissioners, we've heard the motion on item 8. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote, beginning with Vice Chair Powers.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries.
Item number 9 is in docket number 2022-257T. This is the request of Shuttle Myrtle Beach LLC to withdraw its application.
With regard, we've heard the item 9 identified by Mr. Powers. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Commissioner Caston.
I move that the commission grant the request of Shuttle Myrtle Beach LLC to withdraw its application for Class C taxi certificate and for rescission of Commission Order Number 2022-548. So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Caston. Commissioners, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote. Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers.
Aye.
Commissioner Carolee Williams.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The motion carries.
Item number 10 is in docket number 2016-333T. This is the request of Busy Bees Movers LLC to cancel its Class C household goods certificate.
With regard to agenda item 10, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Commissioner Carol Lee Williams.
Thank you. I move that the commission grant the request of Busy Bees Movers LLC to cancel Class E Household Goods Certificate number 9834.
Commissioners, we've heard the motion from Commissioner Williams. Is there any discussion? We'll proceed to a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Carol Lee Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries.
Item number 11 is in docket number 2022-112T, which is the request of Hunt Medical Transportation LLC for a 6-month extension of time.
With regard to agenda item 11, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Commissioner Carol Lee Williams.
Thank you. The motor carrier Hunt Medical Transportation LLC requested a third extension of time. I move that the commission grant the request of Hunt Medical Transportation LLC for an extension of time until April 18th, 2023 to comply with commission rules and regulations. An extension until April 18th, 2023 is a little more than 5 months from today. If the motor carrier does not come into compliance prior to the expiration of this extension, Hunt Medical Transportation LLC is allowed to reapply for a license upon submission of an updated application. I so move.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Commissioners, we've heard the motion from Commissioner Williams. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Carol Lee Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Williams.
Aye.
Vice Chair Powers.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this concludes all the business noticed before the commission today.
Thank you. Mr. Powers, what is the time of that special business meeting on the 21st?
I believe it's 10 a.m.,
No,
11 a.m.
11
I see
a.m.
11 a.m.
Thank you. Our next business meeting is a special business meeting scheduled for Monday, November 21st at 11 a.m. Till then, we are adjourned. Thank you. Everyone have a safe afternoon.